You know that feeling when you finally stop moving and something uncomfortable starts creeping in? Not boredom exactly, something quieter, like an alarm you can't turn off. You could be proud of what you just did, you could rest, but instead your mind is already asking, what's next? And if you don't have an answer, a strange sense of unease settles in, like you're falling behind somehow, even though you're not even in a race. Here's a psychological fact most people never realize about themselves. The drive to achieve isn't always a love of success. Sometimes it's a fear of stopping, and your brain treats stopping as a threat. If you've ever felt guilty for resting or anxious when you aren't working toward something, this isn't a character flaw. This is a specific wiring pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Psychologists call this pattern contingent self-worth. It means your sense of being okay as a person depends entirely on what you just did or what you're about to do. There is no baseline feeling of safety, only momentum. And here's why that matters more than you think. When your identity is built on achievement, your brain stops rewarding you for finishing things. Instead, it rewards you for the anticipation of finishing the next thing. You don't feel good when you arrive. You feel relief for a moment. Then the pressure returns. This affects how you make decisions. You say yes to things you don't have energy for. You start projects you never finish. Not because you're lazy, because the early stage of a new goal feels safe. The middle feels like quicksand. And relationships? They become complicated. You start measuring people by whether they help you move forward or hold you back. Not because you're cold, because your nervous system has learned that stillness equals danger. Let's describe what this actually feels like in a normal day. You wake up already mentally reviewing what you didn't finish yesterday. Before coffee, before you've even sat up, your brain is running a highlights reel of failures, not successes. You get one thing done. You don't celebrate. You immediately look at the next thing. Someone tells you to relax. You try, but within 20 minutes, you feel this low-grade irritation, like you're wasting something precious, time, maybe, or potential. You compare yourself to people who seem calmer, who enjoy their evenings, and you think, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong. You just learned a survival strategy that worked once, and now it's working too well. But here's where it gets more complex. Most people think overambition is just fear of failure. That's too simple. The truth is more uncomfortable. It's not failure you're afraid of, it's irrelevance. Your brain doesn't actually mind losing a competition as much as it minds being forgotten, being average, being steady, because steady feels like disappearing. So you chase, not because you want the prize, because stopping feels like vanishing. Here's the painful part. The same mechanism that drives your success also quietly isolates you, because you start believing that love, respect, and connection are things you have to earn through output. You stop believing anyone could simply enjoy being around you while you do nothing. So you never test that belief. You just keep producing. And the people who love you, they stop asking you to slow down because they know you won't. One person who lived with this pattern was the actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr. You may know her name from old Hollywood, but her real story isn't about fame. In the 1940s, at the height of her film career, she was also a self-taught inventor. While other actors rested between shoots, she worked on a frequency-hopping system to guide torpedoes during World War II. She wasn't paid for it. She wasn't asked to do it. She did it because her mind couldn't stop solving problems. But here's what the biography doesn't always tell you. Lamarr struggled deeply with stillness. She had multiple marriages that fell apart. She often felt unseen as a person because the world only wanted her face, not her mind. When her invention was rejected by the Navy and her creative work went unrecognized for decades, she withdrew. Not dramatically, quietly. She became reclusive later in life. The psychological pattern is clear. Her drive wasn't just ambition, it was a desperate attempt to be seen for who she actually was, not what she looked like. When achievement didn't provide that recognition, her brain had no backup plan for safety. She once said, "Any girl can be glamorous. All you have to do is stand still and look stupid." But standing still was exactly what her nervous system could not tolerate. What does Hedy Lamarr's experience teach us? That overambition is often a solution to an old emotional problem, the problem of not feeling truly visible. The drive to achieve becomes a way of saying, "I am here, I matter, do you see me now?" But here's the insight. No amount of external recognition ever solves that internal silence. You cannot achieve your way into feeling like you belong. Now, let's be clear about something important. This pattern is not wrong. It is not a disorder. It is not something to fix. Different people are wired differently. Some brains are built for contentment. Other brains are built for motion. Neither is morally superior. Your overambition has probably given you gifts, discipline, insight, the ability to endure what others cannot. You've done things because of this drive, real things, hard things. But every strength has a shadow. The hidden cost of this pattern is not burnout. Burnout is just the symptom. The real cost is that you never learn who you are when you aren't achieving. And that is a strange kind of loneliness. Because you are always in the room, but you are never fully present. Here's the truth you've probably been avoiding. Your ambition is not the problem. Your attachment to your ambition is the problem. The belief that if you slowed down, you would disappear. But what if slowing down is the only way to find out what actually matters to you? Not what impresses others, not what quiets the alarm, but what you would still do if no one was watching. That question is uncomfortable, and that discomfort is a good sign. It means you're touching something real. So what do you actually do with this? Not a motivational speech, not a 10-step plan, just a few principles that work with your brain, not against it. First, separate action from identity. Practice saying this quietly. I did that thing, but I am not that thing. Your brain will resist this. It will say, but my work is who I am. That's fine. Just notice the resistance. Don't fight it. Simply separate the verb from the noun. You worked. You are not work. Second, schedule intentional underperformance. Once a week, do something badly on purpose. Cook a meal with zero care for how it turns out. Draw something ugly. Write a page and delete it. Why does this work? Because your brain needs proof that survival does not depend on excellence. You are retraining the threat response. It feels wrong at first. That's how you know it's working. Third, practice the 10-minute still point. No phone, no music, no goal. Just sit for 10 minutes and let your mind be useless. This is harder for you than a 12-hour workday. That's the point. You are not trying to be good at stillness. You are simply proving to your nervous system that stillness does not kill you. Do this every day for 2 weeks. Something will shift. Fourth, ask a different question at the end of each day. Not what did I accomplish, but when did I feel most like myself today? This moves your brain's reward center from external proof to internal truth. It's a small shift, but over time, it changes what your attention looks for. Here's the simple mental model to hold on to. Think of your drive like a fire. It gives warmth, it gives light, but if you never step back from it, you forget there is a sky. You forget there is a world beyond what you are building. Hedy Lamarr invented technology that would eventually become the basis for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. She changed the world, and she still struggled to feel seen. That is not a tragedy. That is a mirror. The lesson is not to stop achieving. The lesson is to stop using achievement as your only proof that you exist. You are not broken. Your experience makes perfect psychological sense. You learned that motion means safety. And for a long time, that was true. But now you are safe enough to pause. Now you are accomplished enough to be still. Your way of thinking has always been your greatest tool, but tools need rest, and so do you. If this resonated, there is more to understand about why your mind works this way. Not to change who you are, just to finally know who you've been all along. When you're ready, not before,